welcome to all of our new subscribers. Today I'd like to introduce you the lovely Nonsenseluminous. So say hello.
Hey everybody, thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for joining today. I love your background. I love the vibes that you bring to this community.
That's
I
the
know.
original Nonsense Luminous right there.
Woo! It's actually pretty cool. What design? Like, how did you create that?
So this was um it's one of the Apple Memojis, and it was my face, and then I just put it into Art Breeder, which is one of the art things, like generative art programs that I used, and it just, distorted it to hell, and
Uh,
now that's what I used.
it's
And I just
really
love
cool.
how, yeah, the colors were great. So
I'm such like a fanatic of color. Like the more colors, the better. I don't think you can get enough color, and it looks
mhm.
like such cartoon vibes. Like that
Yeah.
you're bringing. I love that. I absolutely love it. But yeah, okay. So to get started, the first question I'd love to find out about your background. I'd love to know more about you as a person, as well as an artist, as well as an NFT collector slash artist as well. So yeah, the first question I'd love to ask you is what got you into NFTs?
Yeah, so it was kind of a crazy, just random happening. I actually I think you are a UX person as well, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
I went to a boot camp for UX in the middle of the pandemic, like June, and I did like a 12-week immersive and did that whole thing. And then coming out of it, I started this internship for a Bitcoin ATM startup.
Wow.
And so that got me into crypto. And I just like got bit by that bug, and I started buying some and just researching it. And then I had seen on Twitter that this person was saying, "Oh, I quit my job to make NFTs full time," and I was like, "Why? I don't know what that is." And my friend actually knew more about it, who's an animator and artist. And so also, I had like a pretty big breakup, so I had to move. And in that move, like I just threw myself into NFTs and learning about it and stuff. So, I learned how to use After Effects from this friend and all this different stuff. So really what got me into it was the idea that you could kind of make a living off it, and not be there wasn't really a middleman so much. It wasn't as difficult to kind of get your work out there. So that's kind of how it happened.
Wow, that's so interesting. And when did you first get into NFTs? Like it wasn't that long ago, was it?
Yeah, I mean it was basically around March, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I I don't really remember seeing too much artwork before that,
Hmm.
but yeah, it was very quick. Like this whole community is like it just kind of exploded from, you know, one point.
And each day feels like a year in
Yeah.
normal years,
Yeah.
doesn't it? Every day you see a new marketplace, you see new artists, new
Yeah,
everything.
new themes, new collectibles and stuff like that.
Yeah, and what is there anything right now that catches your eye in the NFT space? Like if there's something that you would naturally go for, or like see the collectibles right now, they're massive. And
Yeah.
what would catch your eye in the NFT space now?
Well, I think I kind of have an unpopular opinion on collectibles. I don't exactly like a lot of them. Um,
Fair, that's totally
'Cause
fair.
yeah, well, because they have effort put into them, and some of them are, there's talent there, obviously, but I don't know. I guess coming into the space, I was looking at it as like, we're making art to make a living off of and have a legacy with. And then some of these collectibles to me feel like they're kind of, I want to make this money really quick and then get the hell out of here.
Would that
So
be like an avatar project? Do you mean like
yeah,
with the
some of them,
collectibles?
some of them.
Yeah.
Like, some of them I can, respect, the like theme and the talent that's in it, but and a lot of them kind of feel like they're just going for that quick cash grab.
Yeah, I suppose like I was even shocked to see when I first got an NFTs how big, like the Crypto Cats God and the Ape Board Yacht Ape Club. I was
Yeah,
so surprised how big they got. Like I wouldn't be a fan of pixel art. Like the majority, some are really cool, but the
yeah,
majority of them is just one that I wouldn't necessarily go for. I love to see like traditional artists and like anything that's really colorful, I would go
yeah,
for. I know pixel art could be really colorful, but yeah, it's interesting to hear your thoughts on that as well. So I'd say we do agree. We have the same mentality that we
yeah,
appreciated it, but we also say here that's not for me, and like that's totally fine. That's your
yeah.
opinion, that's my opinion. Everyone has their own opinion as well, but it seems to be the kind of highest earning way of making a living now as well in
Yeah.
the NFT space. Like if you look up the top 10 on OpenSea, for instance, you can see
Mhm.
they're all the collectibles.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's like the way I look at like art that I like, I guess, is, if you can put it up on the wall and in however many years, like even 1,000 years, like will you look back at it and say, yes, this stands the test of time. So when I use that metric, like a lot of them kind of don't fall
Exactly.
in.
100%.
But it because I think it was a kind of misunderstanding on my part, like NFT, non-fungible token, they're based on kind of tokens. So people are kind of making these avatar collectibles kind of like their coins.
Hmm.
And that's how I'm kind of looking at it.
Yeah. No,
So I
that's cool.
understand.
I'd love to ask you in 10 years time then to see if you do end up creating the collectible.
I actually like the past day or two I was
Yeah.
trying to make something, and but it was kind of great because it segued into something else,
Wow.
and now I have this brand new piece that I just freaking love, and it's not related to collectibles at all. So
Brilliant. Oh my God,
yeah,
that's crazy. I'd love to find out more about like your next drop, and I'd love to find out about your inspiration as well for your pieces. I mean, you said that you've been creating art so many years. So if you could
yeah,
tell us like about your background, I'd love to find out more.
yeah, sure. I think the like moment where I kind of turned into an artist for real was when I was like 13, and that's when I started playing guitar. And so as self-taught, I just stayed in a room for hours and hours trying to learn how to play guitar. And then eventually along the years, I picked up bass, drums, piano, and then eventually producing like electronic stuff and DJing. And so, yeah, since I was 13, I was kind of on that track of wanting to be like a rock star.
Cool.
um,
Cool.
yeah, and so unfortunately, it didn't work out, or it hasn't yet. But
Hasn't yet. Yeah, have
yeah,
the right mindset there.
yeah, yeah. But along the way, I was also doing, especially for my electronic stuff, I was making my own album artwork, and I would just take like, it's probably I wasn't making money off the song, so I think it was okay. But I would just take kind of like model photographs and different stuff, and you know, alter them, and it wouldn't even be with Photoshop. It was like preview in the Apple computer, just the basic like image editor. Um, so yeah, I did that, but I've always been kind of drawing since I was little. Like I remembered, drawing Dragon Ball Z, and I wouldn't trace it. I would just look at a picture and kind of draw the characters.
Yeah, yeah.
And I feel like I was pretty good. I don't want to say for sure, but they looked pretty close.
Wow, cool.
So yeah, I feel like I've always had like a talent in art somewhat. And then music took over, and that's kind of been on the back burner, especially going to that boot camp for UX. Um, but then when I found NFTs, and especially the fact that you can kind of do multimedia, because a lot of my pieces also have, little short snippets of music, some of them. And so that was a really cool way to bring both the music side and just the visual side.
Wow. And I can definitely understand that better. Even like now looking at your background, I can really see the sound inspiration. Like to me now it looks like a speech bubble, and I can see like the techno vibes in it as well. Like I can
Mhm.
see different genres. I can actually see different like it just makes sense to me now what you're saying, where your background comes from, and I really like the background virtual image that you have there now. Um,
Yeah.
it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. Did you mint the background?
I think I put a version of this on Hen, and it was just kind
Oh,
of
yeah.
like a little wavy version. I haven't really checked Hen, to be honest, in a
I
while.
use it. I think it's good for fun. It's good for fun,
Yeah,
but like what other marketplaces would you prefer? Like what ones do you use now, like the most popular?
yeah. I think the only one. Well, I think I started on OpenSea. I was actually doing really just kind of simple generative stuff, and because I want to, I do want to be honest. Like coming into it, I was like, oh, you can make money doing this, um, and so I was just kind of doing the easy way of doing, AI generative stuff, but it would
Mhm.
still be, I don't want to sell myself too short. Like I wouldn't just click one time and then, you know, mint it, but it would be, adjusting all the different sliders and stuff until you find an image that you like. But from that, I did realize I want to do something that I actually have to put work, like really hard work into. So that's where I went into After Effects. So I was doing that on OpenSea from about like March until I guess it was April. I can't remember when I got invited, but it felt like a million years. And then I also did stuff on Rarible, of course. But I finally got invited to Foundation, and that was like that's where I am right now. That's like my main base, I guess.
Mhm. Yeah.
Also on Hen. So yeah,
Yeah, I think like it's easier to even focus on one marketplace because you can definitely get caught up in how many new ones are
yeah,
progressing every day. And at the start, I was, doing so much research where you waste time. Like the time that you could research new marketplaces, you could sell like three, four of your own
yeah.
NFTs. So like to
And
be
all
honest,
the
you're marketing yourself anyway.
yeah.
And what do you find with the marketing? Like, how do you actually go to sell your work? What works for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think it must have been like the first month was tough. And I've always like with my music, I've had a couple moments of like, you know, success where I if I did the right thing, I probably could have capitalized on it, but I just haven't. Um, so I don't have like the skills really in community and stuff like that in marketing. But the first month was really tough, and I was just, trying to dive deep into the community, which was really easy because everybody's, you know, for the most part, everybody is amazing and open and positive. I actually had this huge sale from Ito. I'm
I
sure you're familiar with.
seen, oh, I seen on
Yeah,
I had a look at your
and then
collection and I couldn't believe, I was like, wait, what? I
yeah,
recognize this
yeah,
name.
and then also Hypno Pizza. So him and
Yeah.
Ito bid
Huge
on my stuff.
congrats to both of them, like to have such big collectors as well, on like you can see straight away collected by, you
Yeah,
see their image and you're like, oh, I need to scroll down and see which one.
yeah, it was like insane. Like I've never, made that kind of money doing something that I loved, like in such a short time. And that was kind of like what really hooked me,
Mhm.
um, because it was such a big moment, and it was this person kind of saying they believe in my work. Um,
And how
and
can you
actually,
explain how that feels like to get such a big sale and get a
yeah.
big collector at the same time? Like, how can you explain how that actually feels? Like, do you believe it when you first see your email coming through?
So what actually happened was I saw that I had new invites on Foundation, and I was like, oh, okay, I guess I just have new invites after a while because I didn't know how they were, doling them out. And so I just saw that first, and then I went and checked my email, and then I saw, oh, a bid has started. A bid has started, and yeah, it was just like kind of speechless. Like I think I sat on the end of the bed for like an hour or something, just like
In disbelief.
processing. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Wow.
'Cause, I mean, it's like pretty life changing money, and it's not really about the money. I mean, it is obviously because you need to
To
survive
live.
and pay
Yeah.
bills and everything, but it's more, again, like this person believing in my stuff, and that was like the best feeling.
Yeah. I love that you said life changing. I
Yeah.
totally, totally agree with that. And you're saying life changing and not just about the money, it's actually the experience of having someone believe in your work that you'll never forget that. It's like a
Mhm.
solid memory that will always stay there. So I
Yeah, because the
love
money will go.
exactly.
Money will go, but like that moment of like selling, like having something. Yeah, I don't want to say sell. I want to say like collecting.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Yeah, it was just awesome.
Wow. I'm delighted for you. So huge congrats because like that's something that you'll always remember is one
Mhm.
of your first like what was it your very first sale or first
I'm trying to remember. I think I think I got like one bid on OpenSea when I was doing the generative stuff, but
yeah.
I think I couldn't afford the gas fees or something at the time. So I just didn't sell it, and it wasn't that good of a piece anyways. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think this was my first one. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. And it
That's
was for Ethereum.
crazy.
It's insane.
Wow. That's even better for you. Like
Yeah,
that's crazy. I would have that as my pinned post, my pinned tweet forever. Like just
I
leave it
did for a
there.
long time. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
100%. Why not? And like that's something that will always stick to you, yeah, like forever, really. It doesn't matter how long you're in this space, it'll be something that you'll always kind of cherish. And how do you go about pricing your work? I ask this question to a lot of NFT artists or even, beginners. It's a tough one to answer. Do you like what's your take on that?
Yeah. So, um, like a thing that I remember learning in the UX boot camp actually was the idea that you don't really want to price your work kind of based on what you're doing at the moment. And it might apply more to people who are kind of seasoned, like experienced, but I think it can still apply to, new people depending on what they've done in the past. But you want to price your time, like your entire experience. So for me, since I've been doing my music and all the different art for that and stuff like that, I just wanted to take that into account. Um, and because like I've been grinding for a while, and I feel like I have the chops and the experience to back up, what these other people are making. But it is tough to like kind of justify pricing art because art is so subjective. So um,
Exactly. And when you get such a big collector like that, like obviously you're delighted that you get the sale and you get like it's in their collection for forever because it's in the blockchain. But
mhm.
do you kind of as well say, oh, I could have priced that at more. I wonder, you question the pricing strategy even afterwards. Like, could I have priced that more? Or like, was that the perfect price? Is that why I actually got a big collector. Do you
Yeah.
understand? Like, is it because if you price it a certain way, you attract a certain collector as well?
Mhm. Yeah. So funnily enough, I had priced those ritual pieces, actually like 8 Ethereum. I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna raise the price to 8 Ethereum and see what happens, because I'm not losing anything anyways besides whatever gas fees I paid. Um, and so I had put it at 8, and then I was like, okay, let's go back a little bit and be a little more realistic. And so I changed them to 4. Um, and then, yeah, I just remember posting my dashboard of all my unsold work on Foundation, like a screenshot. And I don't know if that's what it was that Aito saw, but pretty soon after that, I think, is when he bid on it. But I don't know. I have no idea.
Wow, I do see that happening quite often, the screen grab, and I think
Yeah.
it's much better to do that rather than just one piece at a time. I
Hmm.
must try that strategy. I haven't tried that myself, so thanks for this tip.
Well, now I don't know where the dashboard has gone. They used to have this dashboard where it would show your sales and everything, and now it's just disappeared. So
Just use Photoshop, it'd be fine.
yeah, yeah, you gotta
We'll
compile
create
all
our own dashboard.
that. Mhm.
Wow. And okay, so you said your very first, how you found out about it basically was through your job by working in the startup company. You
Yeah,
said through, it was a Bitcoin ATM.
yeah.
That's so cool. And is that actually quite popular in California now? Do you see them around?
Well, they're actually there are a lot
Wow.
in I think the whole country. There are a lot, but this particular company is in Philadelphia or Pittsburgh. Can't remember which one. But they have a ton. So they just rolled out a bunch of new machines, and with using my kind of user experience flow, which is pretty cool.
Wow, that's really cool. Like, I'm sure you have a portfolio of work, do you? And that's probably like
Yeah,
top
yeah.
of the list, or like I haven't seen it in Ireland. I don't think, like, I think there's one I've seen
Oh,
online, but I
really?
haven't actually seen in person. So when that day comes, I'll be pretty impressed. Like, my brother gets paid in Bitcoin through his job. Yeah, if you want to talk about like one, maybe what you have in the pipeline, then as say one of your next NFTs, or where do you see yourself really going with NFTs now that you're all famous?
Yeah. So I've been trying to reach out. I think my pin post, that was my kind of big collaboration with this photographer and model, Dominique, and we did kind of a collab of her shooting herself, taking a picture, and then I would edit it and added music and stuff like that. And that's kind of like spoken to me, like kind of high fashion a little bit, editing models and stuff like that. So I'm kind of getting a sense that I want to do that and maybe even get into photography. Um, but at the moment, I am trying to keep busy. Like I told you, I was trying to make a collectible avatar thing. And I actually made these like soothsayers, like fortune teller kind of
Mm.
characters. Um, and I was gonna do the whole colorful background, different person, each thing that everybody always does, but I decided against it. And now I actually have this big piece that kind of takes all the different characters, and it's like this huge mural kind of thing, and it just looks amazing. So I'm probably what I want to happen is there's like 5 of the characters, and I want all of them to sell, and then I'll release that big one.
Wow, yeah.
But I don't know if I can wait because I really love this piece.
Wait,
Um,
I think it sounds a really good strategy to have if you can wait, but do you have the other done? The other like 5?
yeah. There's 5, and because the idea is like they're fortune tellers, and they each have a different background, and then in this large piece. They're all like compiled, and it's just very kind of like psychedelic, a little Dolly-ish.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a combination of all the stuff I've been doing and the generative stuff, which is nice because it doesn't feel kind of, I guess, lazy.
Hmm. Yeah.
Just pressing a button and having this stuff be spit out. But I'm actually like bringing it together and uh, editing it in After Effects. So yeah.
Wow, that's impressive. Rather than like 1,000 collectibles that are just generated then through like one developer just, sends them
But
all
yeah,
out
that's
there.
the thing. Like I
Yeah.
found out is apparently, from what I understand of it, they just they design, their different uh like attributes, like
Yeah.
the shirt and the hair and all that stuff, and then the program or whatever that they've wrote, I'm assuming, just like randomizes it and spits
Yeah.
out the images.
It's crazy how it works. So it's like all of the icons are transparent backgrounds, and then they're basically all just stacked upon each other, the
Mm,
ones that like the different ones that you see. So they're
yeah,
all just layers. It's crazy how they're the most popular ones as well. Like like literally make the most revenue. I think
hmm,
on every single platform, and that just amazes me because I just didn't think they ever would, and it's already happening right now. So I wonder, will a lot of artists like yourself, kind of translate to or transfer to this area, and then kind of when you realize, okay, this is making me more money, I wonder will that become the kind of end all for a lot of platforms? So it's exciting to see.
yeah. I mean, the reason I was trying to make one is I haven't really gotten any sales after that big Ato sale and Hypno Pizza, which has been tough. Like I, I hesitate to say it's more difficult than someone who's never sold anything, but it is kind of like I sold these two things, and now it's kind of been quiet for like 2 months or so,
Mhm.
and and like part of that is like very tough because you feel like, well, why isn't it continuing,
Yeah.
But you keep doing it, like
Hold strong, especially with such a big collector like that. I think it will definitely benefit you. Like it might not be necessarily like visible straight away, but it definitely will. Like every collector will look at your, like other works. No one is, I don't
yeah,
think anyone is that stupid to just go, I really like that image or I really like that animation, let's buy it. I really don't think that happens. I think you really do your research with these type of things, especially with the
yeah.
likes of copyright. I've seen so many artists, they have to refund their collectors.
Mhm. Oh yeah.
Like, do you see any issues such as that might like arise, or like is there any kind of
For
issues that you've
fans and stuff.
seen with the NFT community yet?
Oh, not me personally, but just in general.
Oh yeah, just what like if you've seen it on Twitter or anywhere
Oh
before.
yeah, I remember seeing a couple where, and it was surprising where they had to refund everybody. Um, but yeah, I just I don't know why. It's hard for me to understand why you would want to do that, because especially in this day and age, you're gonna be found out.
Yeah.
Like people are so, they're able to find information. Just it's crazy. So I don't know why you would do it.
And what's your experience been like so far? I know you said like, the majority is such a positive, it's such a positive experience. Like I'd love to find out more about like your experience so far. So with trying to build your community. I know you mentioned you wanted to talk about kind of the mentality of artists.
Yeah, I don't it's tough because it's great. Obviously you want to be positive all the time. Um and that's something that we should strive for in general. Um but it does feel like a lot of the times we're kind of pushing that stuff away and like saying, no, we don't, we're not like recognizing, negative feelings or tough times. And, it's like I've had, I don't want to say my experience has been tough compared to, tons of people, especially, because of the pandemic and everything. But, everybody has their own kind of struggles, and it's hard to like always be positive. And you can kind of control yourself since it's, social media, and you can choose what you want to share. But at the same time, it's like I don't really want to keep that stuff from people necessarily, because it kind of, you can connect through the negative and, help each other. So I feel like it does feel like a lot of the times there's like a stigma against sharing your struggles, and I think that you should share them and like help people deal with them.
Embrace it. Yeah,
Yeah. And
totally.
you don't have to be like this downer that's just, know, moaning and complaining all the time. But I feel like you should be able to have, occasional tweets where you're saying like, I just don't feel good. Like I've done that, and I'm sure like, I've lost followers because of it.
I was just about to say that, like, it wouldn't actually surprise you to get unfollowers from it because of that stigma that you said that is there.
Mhm.
It's not that you think it's there, it's there. You've seen
Yeah.
the impact of it. So yeah, I think it is important to talk about it as well in a way that I know it's hard to talk about like your feelings without like sounding dramatic or sounding like
Mhm.
I'm looking for attention, and it's just that instant kind of like, I suppose we're living in that time. It's like instant gratification. People just judge straight away,
Yeah.
and they're gonna scroll by next to see what the next tweet is, and they don't actually understand.
Yeah.
You would rarely probably get like, do you get, say, a DM if you do post something to say I'm not feeling great? Would you get
Yeah.
many DMs? You do?
I not like, not relative to how many followers I have, but there are definitely like a good group of people that are always kind of checking in on me. And depending on what I say, they're like, "Are you okay? Like, what's
Yeah.
going on?" So
Yeah,
that's,
that's important.
yeah, and like that is, what I'm talking about. Like, that's perfect. Um, but yeah, and then on the other side, it's in the beginning. I remember a lot of people kind of being like, I'm just trying to remember this one thing this person said. I won't name names or anything,
Yeah, yeah.
but I was just like asking for advice and on how to, get collectors or whatever. And they were just saying like, oh, just believe in your art and just keep doing it. And it's like, I don't know. To me, that it's just kind of like a lazy thing. I feel like it kind of connects with what I'm talking about, is like we need to be a little bit more real,
Mhm,
because just saying, oh, believe in yourself and you can do it. It's like that doesn't really do it.
mhm.
That doesn't really help people too much, because of course we, want to believe in ourselves.
Yeah.
But yeah, so just being a little bit more real, I think is something that I would want from the community. But it's an amazing community, because I've, in my music experience and everything, I never had, relationships like this, and um, it's just been a much better experience.
Wow. Yeah, no, that's really important that you mentioned that. Especially with the times that we're living in now and the unpredictability. And I'm sure you're sick of everyone talking about COVID, but like I do have to mention it because it's obviously going to impact the NFT community and impact us as artists as well. Like we're all living in different time zones and we're all living in different lockdowns, and it's
Yeah.
difficult. Like, would you say that COVID has had a massive impact on you joining the NFT community?
It's tough because right before, um, my boot camp is when it was like March when it kind of, obviously it was before that, but March was kind of when it really went down and exploded. Um, but so, as far as impacting me, I was just doing that boot camp virtually. So, and I wasn't really going anywhere. And, luckily it didn't impact me very much. And I actually had unemployment from my previous job that I had left. And so I was really fortunate that way. But, you know, now coming into this period, it is kind of like I am starting to think about I need to either get a job or really figure out what my like marketing and plan is going to be for this project, because
Wow. Mm.
it is getting tough now. It's more tough than it was when it was actually happening. It's
Yeah.
kind of like the fallout for me. Yeah, it's just a different
I wish
period.
I joined in March. I'm only nearly 3 months now, and I
Mm.
missed out the best time. I'm devastated, but it will
Yeah,
get better. It will definitely get better soon.
yeah, it was just a crazy time, like very exciting. Um, I do miss that, and you can feel it too because I don't know how your engagement has been since when you joined, but I feel like the engagement I get is less than when I had 200 followers, and now I have 1,000 whatever, and it's just kind of weird because it feels like I have less than what I do.
Yeah. Wow, that's interesting. I think
Hmm.
maybe
I
like
know
I
there's
have
some algorithm thing going on. I don't know.
I've seen that like shadow banning, and I've
Yeah.
seen like a few people drop off as well, that they want to take a mental health break and they'll be back. And that might be 3 months break, not just like a few days, it's actually like more than a month. I've seen that happen. I've seen other people waiting until the price of Ethereum kind of levels out, like when ETH
Yeah.
2.0 comes out. I've seen a lot of that happening. Like, I'll be back as soon as this is fixed and
Okay.
as soon as gas prices are fixed. But I don't think like there's ever a perfect time as well. I think the earlier that you start, the more of a head advantage you have. So I would never drop off, because that kind of shows you're not really in it for the long run as well.
Exactly.
And I think that's bad for your networking, bad for your relationships that you've helped
Mhm.
build up. But a mental health break is like, oh my God, is like so fine. Like, I have taken